Well, there has been a horrible spate of gun violence here in our city. Just yesterday, 6 separate shootings, one of them fatal, rocking our city. Mayor Tory has expressed his support for police as they investigate these crimes and is calling on all levels of government to take a stand on gun violence. It's just one of the topics we're going to be talking to Mayor Tory about, who joins us live right now via Skype in New York City. Good morning to you, Mayor.
Good morning.
I want to begin here. Happening overnight, we had a 14-year-old girl shot in what's believed to be not a targeted shooting, but regardless, it adds to the violence that we've seen here and compounded by what we saw yesterday. Is there more that can be done?
Well, the answer is yes, and I've talked about gun control, the need for increased controls, including a national handgun ban. We've talked about bail laws and some of the people, not in this particular case overnight. I mean, that's a case where you have to ask yourself, what was a handgun doing in the possession of a 14-year-old or a 14-year-old and their friends? Because every suggestion seems to be that this was an accidental firing with people who were playing with a gun. I mean, what kind of a concept is that? Where have we got to, where these guns are so available to people who are 14 years old that they're playing with them in an apartment as kind of a modern-day version of some other game they might have been playing? But we need to change the laws. We need to support the police, as you said, and we need to have continued and increased investments in neighborhoods, which I've been lobbying the federal government to do since they indicated during the campaign that they would.
And you specifically, I know you were talking with Chief Saunders yesterday when there was a spate of gun violence, 6 shootings overnight. I don't know if that's unprecedented or not, but definitely on my watch, that's quite a few. What are the discussions right now with what's happening on the ground?
Well, I mean, he is making a big effort, as he has been for months now, to gather increased intelligence, because a lot of this is gang-related, and they're trying to use every tool they have, including monitoring social media and other things, to keep track of the activities of these gang members. A lot of these shootings are retaliations or signals that are being sent from one gang to another. But, he pointed out to me yesterday, and it's the truth, that, you can have increased numbers of police officers, which we have done, he has done, in some of the neighborhoods where there's been concentrated activity, but you can't have a police officer in the location where there's going to be a shooting. It's impossible to do that. So we're just going to have to keep at this. I mean, he is very determined. I am very determined. I'm going to make sure that the other governments are. Mr. Ford has indicated to me his great interest in seeing bail laws reformed. Mr. Trudeau has indicated an interest in investing in neighborhoods. So we're just going to have to keep at this and rely on people, quite frankly, to give us information about who is doing these things, who has these guns, who belong to these gangs. We need that information in order to crack down on them.
Mayor, I want to talk about why you are in New York right now. This is your last day as part of this business mission. How is it going so far, and what sort of business are you hoping to drum up for the city?
Well, it is good to look at the good news side of what's going on in the city, because the city is booming, and it's booming because companies are coming to invest in the city. And we've seen 14, or we will have seen 14 companies by the end of today. And I can tell you a great many of them are very interested in coming to Toronto. That's part of my job. An important part of my job is to sell the city as a place to invest, a place to create jobs. We have 70,000 people coming to Toronto every year, and they need jobs. And I'm out there trying to make sure that we can convince companies to come to Toronto because of the great talent that is resident in the city, the great education system, the critical mass of banking and technology and life sciences firms. So we're making great progress. People are interested in Toronto. They're interested in our way of life. They find it an attractive place to do business. And I just have to keep at getting people to make that decision to come to Toronto and create jobs in our city.
Yeah, important to know that we do have a lot of great here in our city. Mayor Tory, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Melanie.